May the peace and blessings of the Almighty be with all of you, and welcome to another episode of our Ramadan podcast. And I want to continue my discussion in today's episode about my journey in Egypt. And I share this with one intention, and that is with a hope that it may inspire those who seek to tread the path of learning. And as I've mentioned in yesterday episode, that it's quite important and vital for our younger generation to know that for you to accomplish something in life, that you have to make sacrifices. And if you're not willing to make sacrifices, then the result will not be something that you do admire. If you're throwback and not willing to go through hardship, then you will not even value the thing that you have in your hand. So here is it. As you are pursuing your life, as you're living, and you set goals for yourself, and here primarily we're talking about setting goals in terms of learning and how important it is. And we shared what the beloved Prophet Muhammad SAW said, that seeking knowledge is compulsory in every Muslim, male and female, and that you should seek knowledge even if you have to travel to China. And this was mentioned by the Prophet with one intent, and that meaning that if you have to travel far and you have to exert energy and you have to go through hardship and trials in your life to accomplish something as important as knowledge and make that sacrifice, then you have to do it, because seeking knowledge is compulsory. That's one thing someone can take away from you. You learn from the books, and also you learn from your experiences. And that's the thing that I want to share with you. How I, as a spiritual leader during my life journey, learned from the experiences that I was exposed to during my days in Cairo, Egypt. From the age of 16 to 27, the things that I've learned during that duration of time, that universities cannot teach you it, because it was practical learning. It was learning where you make mistakes and you learn from that mistakes. It was learning about patience. It's about learning what it means to survive. It's learning about when to say no to certain things, and when to recognize when a wrong has been done, and how you should move away. All of this navigating at this very tender age. I want you to imagine, right, that you have someone, and I share this with you, someone, this, I was 16 years of age, 1st of January, this is the first week in January 1994. Alone, away from mom, away from dad, away from everyone. And I recall that night when we arrived in Cairo, in Madinah Barosul Islami, the student hostel. It was around 11. I remember that precisely. It was around 11 p.m. And as we arrived, we showed our passports. As we say, the doorman or the security, he collected our passports and took our suitcase. Had one suitcase. Muhammad Aziz was with us, another student at a tender age of being 16, carried us into a room. It was a night, you can't see much, all you see in buildings. And they placed us into a room with no lights. And as you climb the stairs, it was 3-story. Each one of the floors had approximately 10 rooms on one wing. and another 10 in the other wing. So it's 10, 20, 40, 50, 60. So it's like approximately 10. Yeah, it was 10 rooms on one wing. One wing. Yes. So it was 6 wings, so 60 rooms, right? 60 rooms approximately in one building. And so they took us into this room. And you're hearing different languages, different noise. People are talking. You don't know who it is, and they place us into the room. No lights. Mattress on the ground. Place us there, and the guy basically, before he left, he gave us a red card that has some names, writings on it. Don't know what the writings want. Later on, we know that it was the days of the week, and it has slots for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So that was your lunch card and your dinner card and your break. A matter of fact, it was your lunch card and dinner card. Later on, your breakfast card and your lunch card. We didn't have dinner. You had to provide your own dinner. So you had a section for where to take off breakfast and where to take off lunch. I can remember precisely it was a pink reddish card, and basically they give it to you. In the night, I cried. I wept because I'm thinking, as a child at this age, what is this? Started thinking like, would this be for the rest of the 5 years? The situations were quite challenging, difficult. In the morning, we get to know that there were students from the various parts, like there were some Afghani students. Later on, we get to know them. And the person came, took us, and went to the restaurant. All we understood, ta'al, 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 come, come, come. And we entered into the restaurant. We were exposed to food, like the beans. We were exposed to beans that is served with oil. We were exposed to raw onion, which Egyptians eat. We were exposed to radish and other pickles. Alhamdulillah. And I just want to clarify that I'm no way mentioning these things in a derogatory manner in terms of the meal. I'm just sharing with you that these are the experiences someone leaving Guyana accustomed to a particular type of food and is going to Egypt now have to be exposed to this. Despite we had a small house with 3 beds, that you had family around you, here is it, you in a foreign land away from mom and dad at that tender age, and they have a mattress on the ground with no lights. Think of yourself in that situation. And sometimes when I think back, I say to myself, if I have to relive that again, would I do something different? Would I choose not to go, knowing that what I went through? I said, no, not at all. I will do it again because I know what it is and how it helps. How it helped me, how it helped shape me to be the person who I am today. And I just want to mention that during that particular time, in trying to adapt with the food was not easy. Today, kids, they have food, proper food, good food, home cooked food, and they have complaints. We complain about it. We don't want this. You eat a portion and you throw it away. We make comments about food that we eat, knowing that there are people starving and people went through hardship and trials. And that, I guess, it's because of my experience of hunger. What hunger is. There were times in Egypt when the 20 Egyptian dollars that they were giving us as a scholarship. When you say scholarship, everybody say, wow, yeah, you have a scholarship, that they're giving you a large sum of money. 20 Egyptian pounds in 1994 was approximately 60 to 65 Egyptian pounds. And you had to buy clothing with that. You had to somehow not only buy clothing with it, but you also had to somehow buy a meal with it. With a minimal amount of clothes that I brought, brought from Guyana, right, with a little bit that I had in the suitcase, we had to make sure that those finances that they you get, that you manage it wisely. And at a very young age, I learned about uh, managing my finance, about saving, what it means to save, not to spend. And today I could say that I'm a saver. I can save because of that exposure. I've learned how to save from our African brothers. Most of my friends were Africans. Because the little bit resources that you had, that subhanallah, it's like, you see, alhamdulillah, our brothers used to take that 60 Egyptian pounds, 20 US dollars, and they will somehow do what? They will take a portion of it and send it to their families in Africa. They will take the boiled meat that you get, the meals. Let me come back to the meals. The meals, 2 meals. And during that duration of time that we spent there in the hostel, that duration of time that we spend in the hostel, approximately 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 7 years in the hostel, right? That 7 years in the hostel that I spent, because the last 4 years I spent outside of the dorms. But that 7 years that you get one type of food, a particular day, rice and a specific sauce and boiled meat. Another day, rice, baked chicken, and a particular sauce. Another day, fish, rice, and a particular sauce. And it rotates. So you know today you're going to know exactly what you're getting. Today is which day? Same thing with the breakfast. And those brothers from Ghana and from Senegal and from different parts of the West Africa and East Africa that were there, that I get to know, subhanallah, amazing that they will take that meat, they will cut it up, and they will put their stewed tomatoes, they put their onion, and then they will do their daqiq. It's basically water and flour, and they will anoint it basically and eat that dough along with the sauce. And they will take that meat, two, three of them, they will come together, take the meat, eat a portion, and leave a portion for the evening. So they will be content with whatever they have, but they're saving their money to send for their family. And those people, subhanallah, some of them end up finishing their high school, their university under those circumstances, and finished their masters and went back home. There were those among my colleagues and friends, some of them, that subhanallah, some of them had their parents passed away, mother passed away, father passed away, and they were not able to go home. You go to pray Salatul Dhuhr, Salatul Janaza, Salatul Ghaib for so and so, the parents of so and so. Can't go back. Those are the sacrifices that people make for deen. And I'm just sharing this with you, and that some of the sacrifices that we went through. When you come back, you try to integrate into your community, you try to teach what you learn, you try to speak upright, you try to in a gentle way to teach, and you're faced with many challenges. And that is why I always say that we need to respect people of knowledge and the sacrifices that they went through. right? But point of emphasis is that today we have so much resources, but yet we do not want to learn the religion, right? Today we have madrasa at Masjid Abidin, and like many of the communities here in New York have madrasa. Saturday madrasa, Quran madrasa on Saturdays from 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock, and the kid comes one day, they don't show up the next day. You call the parents says, the kid don't want to go, so you give them that choice. And what happens when they grow up? When they grow up and they become disobedient and they start hanging out with the wrong friends and they start to, looking at things that you're not supposed to look at, involve in activities that you're not supposed to involve in, um, you bang your head on the wall and ask, Imam, what's going on with my child? The answer is in your hand. You had the opportunity to instill certain values in them, send them to the madrasa, let them be exposed to religious teachings and guidance, let them understand ethics, let them understand responsibility. So at that time, coming back, at that time when I arrived in Egypt and I was exposed to that type of food, again, I'm saying be thankful of what you have, never complain, right? Now let's talk a little bit about the learning, right? I could remember going to school for the first day, jumping into the bus. You have to run for the bus. The bus is not like fancy here. Go to the bus station. You get the bus. If Boros was right beside the student hostel was right beside where the bus station is, right? And so you will probably jump in the bus or get the bus while you are there, or sometimes it's filled, so you have to stand. And if you stand in the bus, and or you're sitting in the bus and a sister comes in, a lady comes in, or an older person comes in, you have to, out of courtesy, give them that seat, right? An elderly person comes in, you give them that seat. And that was a learning right there, too. Young people could learn about that. Never be self centered. You think about giving an older person your seat, thinking about giving a sister the seat, being a gentleman, being a kind person, kindness. That's, you learn real life kindness, not on books, not on words, by actions. And then when you sometimes you don't get the bus, then the bus passes, then you have to run to catch the bus and you jump while the bus is moving. I can remember one time as the bus is going, I have my wallet in my pocket. I literally found the guy's hand in my pocket because the bus is so congested and there's a lot of not a lot, but they were pickpocketers. Pickpocket people who will just go into the buses just to pick your pocket. And Cairo is quite congested. Well, we get into Jamiat al-Azhar and get into the school. There's something called Darasat al-Khassa, the special language training. And I can recall how repetition taught me initially, repeating something taught me initially phrases in Arabic and, trying to navigate the Arabic language. English, we knew, just finished high school in Guyana, right? Just finished high school, coming back, learning a foreign language. So it was an older professor. I can't remember the name. He sits, he got up from his seat, he stands and he writes on the board. He has his book. We had our pens and our exercise book, our notebook, and he's writing on the board. He's writing on the board about the rabbit, the story of the rabbit. And this is a rabbit that basically decided to um, leave his home, mom and dad, because he's agitated. He's fed up eating what he's eating. So he says, I'm going to go out thinking that outside of the home, there's better things awaiting him. So that was the gist of the story. So he went out and he meets the lion and he says, Ya akhi, ana jawan, hal indaka futur? Oh, my brother, I'm hungry. Do you have food? Then he meets the turtle. Ya akhi, ana jawan, hal indaka futur? The arnab, right? The rabbit. Then he reached multiple animals and he's saying the same thing. The morning comes. Ya akhi, ana jawan, hal indaka futur? And I learned that phrase. So I gone back into the hostel, meeting different people. Young kid, again, very tender age, excited, learning Arabic, learning language, trying to communicate. In lunchtime, you're asking people for breakfast. In dinner time, you're asking for breakfast. And I'm laughing. Ya akhi, ana jawan, hal indak futur? Lunchtime, and I'm asking for breakfast and so forth. It was fun. But I just want to share that was my first exposure. That was the first lesson that I learned in the classroom that I repeated. And also, I got involved in table tennis. I love table tennis from back home in Guyana. So they will have like sessions in Bros, my little Bros at Islami, and we will go and play table tennis. And I will choose to, like to count the scores in that way. I better. So I improvised in terms of how I can learn the numbers initially. Want to learn the numbers واحد اثنين ثلاثة أربعة خمسة 1 2 3 4 5. So you're able to count the numbers as you're playing table tennis. So you have to be responsible. There's no mother there to wake you up in the morning. There's no father to wake you up in the morning. There's no one to look at how your clothes is and how your socks is. You had to adjust with the cold weather then. And it was difficult then, right? So you had to basically adjust. But this adjustment, it did not take that long to adjust because we went with the flow. So we adjusted to the food. We learned to save. The hardship and the trials that we experience in terms of food and making ends meet, I want to share. Because before the month is up, your 20 US dollar, your 60, 65 Egyptian pounds are done. Finish. At times, I know what hunger is. Someone asked me when I was in Ghana 2, 3 years ago, um, brother asked, he said, what motivates you to want to do humanitarian work? Why are you so passionate about humanitarian work? I said to him, probably because I know what hunger is. Probably because I experienced hunger. Probably because I came from a very poor background. Probably I know that when I was growing up, there are times when we eat salt and rice, basically, with oil mixed with cut up pepper, like many Guyanese did. But away from home and mom and dad not having cooked food, I knew that there were days that when I went to bed hungry without any food, without anything to eat. And in the morning you have to get up to go basically to school. You have to catch the bus. But it took a while. It took a while for you to adjust. But what I'm saying, I knew what hunger was because there were times when you did not have money for dinner and you went to bed at night hungry. I can recall. I swear by Allah, wallahi, billahi, talahi. I swear, I know that I will go to the brothers from Maldives and others that I know. Do you have a telephone coin and want to make a telephone? I go to 2, 3 of them to get a coin just to do what? Just to buy an egg or two and a noodle. And we make noodles and eggs. And that would be the dinner because there was no money in your pocket. Your $60 are out. Your 60, 65 Egyptian pounds are done. There were moments that when you will be in the room and you're hoping that someone will come and knock at your door and say, come join us because there are other people around. Or you will pass by, you will walk and you will pass by with a hope that someone will call you for a meal. Someone will call you to say, come and sit, eat with us. So this passion in helping and feeding, this passion of giving someone a morsel of food and not turning away when they come and ask you for food, it's because I know what it is. I know what hunger is. I know what it means to be hungry. I know what it means not to have something. I know what it means to let your knees come up to your belly and go to bed at night without anything to eat. Alhamdulillah. We learn from that. We learn to be what we learn from hunger. We learn contentment. We learn contentment. And that there was, subhanAllah, this fear that was driven, that while we were experiencing all of that, you never wanted to be a failure. You never wanted to be a failure. You wanted to push yourself. You wanted to make sure that the goals that you set for yourself, that you reach it. And here is it that they told you when you were in Guyana. We were told when we were in Guyana that it's 5 years, 2 years Arabic language, 4 years university, and that's it. Then when we were there, the first month, we know they will not allow you to enter into the university. They will not allow you to enter into the Jamiat al-Azhar. Why? Because your CXC certificate is not equivalent to Al-Azhar certificate. And you may think that is unjust, but now that I'm mature, I'm thinking, I always say we get a better opportunity than others. Because why? Because when someone leaves a place, let's say a foreign country, not exposed to Arabic language, not knowing Arabic as a language, then they put them into a class where they teach them Arabic for 1 year, then put them into university. How much are they gonna grasp? And I put that on a scale and I compare it with those who, for example, who learn Arabic for a year, right? Or two, then they go through primary education, secondary education, then goes into university. What's the difference? Big difference. Because you'll be grounded in the Arabic. It's like you taking someone, you want him to learn medicine. He learns English up to high school because he's from a foreign country. Um, so let me put it this way. He learned a foreign language for 1 year and then going and study medicine in that foreign language with that foreign language that he learned for 1 year. How much he will grasp? We finish English high school in English and still find challenges in studying in a university that is English based because the work is hard. Think about it, studying university level information in a foreign language that you study for a year and they put you into university, how much you're going to grasp? So I think it was a good experience. It was wise for them not to put us into university right away. Language would have been a challenge because the level of studies in Jamiat al-Azhar is quite high in comparison with other universities. And I want to say that I want to say that that exposure allowed me to understand and comprehend the materials that we were taught in Jamiat al-Azhar. But the issue is that rather than 5 years, after 5 years you finish primary school, 3, and then you see 2 years Arabic, you enter in the exam, they put I skipped 1 year. So after 5 years, you're only the beginning of high school. What are you gonna do with high school? 2 high school certificates. So I said, no, I'm not gonna go back. I'm gonna make sure that I finish my college. I'll finish university, and that's it. I was motivated. And despite all of that, we propelled. There's so much more I want to share with you, right? There's so much more I would like to share about my journey. But this is a part of my journey when I was in Egypt. Hunger, responsibility in taking care of yourself with no mother and father, no one to tell you it's sleeping time or not, that you have to wake up to go to school and do what you have to do, exposure to different types of customs and practices from different culture and background. And that is one of the amazing lessons that I've learned. God says He created us in nations and tribes so that we may be able to know each other. Created us from male and female and made us into nations and tribes so that we may be able to know each other. And why? Here, we meet people from West Africa, East Africa. I used to do stamp collection. I had stamps, postal stamps from Africa, from Europe, from Asia. I met people from various parts of the world and understand their custom and their practices. Learn from them, and had an opportunity as well to tell people in my own little way about Guyana. And there is where I build a bond with my good friend Sheikh Ibrahim Fai, who now I still have contact with. So life has its ups and downs and twists and turns, but what you experience in life should serve as a lesson, a life lesson that you hold on to and you carry with you as a beacon of light to appreciate what you have. Appreciate what you have. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of you, and guide you and protect you. And I hope and pray that whatever dreams that you have, that you do not allow anyone or any circumstances to somehow hamper you in accomplishing your dreams. Be content, be thankful, remember God, be appreciative, learn and observe, be vigilant, and your life will be different, inshallah. Thank you all so much. Have a blessed and loving day, and assalamu alaikum. Peace and love.